Johar, welcome to yet another session of the Tribal Design Forum at Tribal Futures, a month-long online festival to celebrate contemporary tribal imagination. My name is Anupam Purti and I shall be the host for today. The Tribal Design Forum is a vibrant community of multidisciplinary designers and creative professionals from various tribes of India. For the past 3 years, we have been gathering regularly here, interacting with domain experts, learning from them, and exploring ways to use art, design, and technology for the benefit of our communities. In fact, Tribal Design Forum has curated some of the finest works from the artists, designers, and other creative professionals who have previously spoken on our platform. We are currently organizing a month long online festival showcasing and celebrating contemporary tribal imagination from the 1st to the 31st of August every evening at 7:30 p.m. and every afternoon on weekends at 2:30 p.m. Indian Standard Time. More details about this festival can be found at tribaldesignforum.com. The sessions are also live streamed on our YouTube channel. That said, continuing on our quest to showcase and appreciate the brilliant works of artists, designers, and creative professionals from tribal communities, we are here today to delve into the journey of Iba Malai, an innovative fashion designer who will present a talk on her work in revitalizing Khasi oral traditions through sustainable textile and fashion design. Iba Malai is an Indian born designer hailing from Riboi district of Meghalaya. She grew up in a community that dyes and weaves their own fabrics, where she was also fascinated by the rich traditions and folklore of the area. Her deep rooted love for nature and traditional craft became a curiosity to learn more about textile and fashion. Graduated in business management, she further pursued fashion design with JD Institute of Fashion Design, Bangalore. As a woman from Meghalaya, she advocates the solidarity and the need of preserving her heritage, a core part of why she started Kiniho. Every Kiniho piece she creates is an exemplary notion of sustainability from fiber to textile to design and clothing. In this session, Malai will explore how she collaborates with local artisans to create garments that celebrate the rich cultural heritage of the Khasi community. She will discuss her approach to integrating traditional stories, motifs, and craftsmanship into contemporary fashion, ensuring that each piece is not only stylish but also a vessel of cultural storytelling. Malai's commitment to sustainability is evident in her use of eco friendly materials and ethical production methods, emphasizing the importance of preserving both the environment and cultural practices. The presentation will conclude with a 30-minute Q&A, providing an opportunity for the audience to engage with Malai in the interests in the intersections of fashion, tradition, and sustainability, and the role of fashion in preserving cultural heritage. Please feel free to put your questions or comments in the chat while the session is going on. Due to paucity of time, we shall be able to take in the first 5 questions that appear in the chat box. So keep your questions ready to make the session an interactive one. Iba, we are delighted to have you come and speak with us. We look forward to listening to your journey. The floor is all yours.
Thank you so much, Team TDF, for having me this evening, and thank you for all of you who are joining us in today's session. My name is Iba. I'm the founder and creative director of Kiniho. Anupam, are we ready with the presentation? Yes. I'm the founder and creative director of Kiniho, and I'm going to talk about my work and my community people. Next slide, please. To talk a little bit about my work, Kiniho is a clothing and textile brand based in Meghalaya. We started in the year 2016. Our mission is to create responsibly by making sure each process involves in creating the designs are socially and environmentally friendly. We believe it is our responsibility to preserve our heritage and identity through our textile and designs. Therefore, we choose to work with our own community people and work with our heritage fabric, which is Aries silk. Next slide, please. These are images from the Lakme Fashion Week that we have showcased our work in 2022. Next slide. I want to talk to you all the reason why I started Kinihu. There are many reasons why I started, and one of that reason is to reconnect back with my roots. I was far away from home when I started my journey, and that was the time when my mom used to call me up frequently to return back home. She would persuaded me to return back home for good, but then I was not very happy with the idea, um, because I didn't know what I would be doing when I go back home. I was living far away for many years, and that was also the time when I was just starting my journey with Kiniho. Um, and I was looking for this fabric that I could work on, the fabric that would support my voice and mission, and that is to create sustainable clothing. And I also want this brand to have a purpose. It should have some meaning to the work that we do. It should have an impact. I want this brand to not benefit me alone, but also the local community. That was the time when my mom used to call me back home. And one, I remember there was one fine day that she called me up, and then she spoke about how her day went by and how she spent time with the weavers. That clicked to me, and it made me think about my community people. It made me think about the heritage craft that they have been practicing. I was born and raised in this village where they dyes and weaves their own fabric. So I was just like a blind person living far away from home, trying to find the fabric that could suit and support the voice and mission that I have for the brand. Until that day, I did not realize, and I should thank my mom who made this phone call, and then she made me realize that. I should work with this fabric. I should work with this fiber and with my community people. And as I was living far away, even though I was living far away, I always want to have some kind of connection with my roots. And this has become the connection since then. And that phone call and that thought that I had and the decision that I made that time made me pack my bag from where I was that time and return back home to my mom, to my land, to my roots, and to my identity as a person. Next slide, please. Just to show you where we are, I am from Ribhoi district. The district is called Ribhoi, and my identity, my tribe is Bhoi. We are called Bhoi community or Bhoi people. So here we are in this map of India in the northeast part, and then you see the map of Meghalaya in purple, and the blue part is Ribhoi. We are very close to Assam, so it's much hotter compared to Shillong. Next slide, please. Um, so the heritage craft that they have been practicing in Ribhoi is mainly eri silk hand weaving. Um, Eri silk hand weaving have been practices since many years, since ages, since our ancestors' time. Um, but during that time they would use to weave only for their own use and also for giftings. So eri silk, as in Khasi we call it rindia, is also considered to be the most valuable fabric, as it used to be presented only to the high class people, and they would wear it only during the grand occasion. But nowadays, people have started weaving this fabric to sell and to serve their livelihood income. So this is the main craft in Ribhoi. So in some parts of the Ribhoi, they also practice bamboo craft and also pottery. But this is the main, aerial silk hand weaving is the main craft that they practice, and that serves most of the livelihood incomes of the community. So also, especially, I want to talk a bit about the place where I was born and raised. The village is called Diwan, and the common area is called Unden. Right now, it's a group of the villages. It's a cluster where are many villages in this cluster. They practice this heritage hand weaving. So in this villages, they would rear their own aerosol. They spin their own yarn, as you see the women here are spinning the yarns. They dyes their own traditional method of dyeing using the local ingredients available within the state, and they weave their own fabric. Next slide, please. So here you can see these women are also weavers from one of the village called Maurumkang village in the Ribhoi district. Next slide. And here, just to have a glimpse of how they dress during their cultural performance, you have youths here wearing the traditional outfit during their cultural performance. Next slide. I want to talk a bit about the connection of my community, my Bhoi community, with the land and nature. So I would like to start with what you see here in this slide, a paddy field. So Bhoi believe on Kalukmi. I have mentioned the name here, Kalukmi. Kalukmi is considered to be the rice deity in Bhoi. Okay, they considered Kalukmi to be the rice deity, and they think that made the Bhoi people to protect rice and also other agricultural crops. And they considered this rice deity, this Lukmi, to be a sustainer of life. So that way they equate the Lukmi with a woman. So we do have celebration about this Lukmi. We have ritual ceremonies, and there is also a dance called Kashat Rakante, which connects with this Lukmi. If you can go to the next slide. Can you go to the next slide? So here is the dance Shat Rakante, it's called, where they lift the woman. As you see in the slide, the woman, the men are all surrounded there in a circle, and they would lift the woman. So this is the idea, and just as a symbol to protect the deity, the sustainer of life, the woman. Can we go back to the previous slide? Yes. Bhoi people also believe in the concept of Nongba. Nongba, when I say here, I'm talking about a forest. It is believed that this place is the first settlement of the raids in Ribhoi. So there are many monoliths, asheries, and other religious items present in this forest that made Bhoi people to consider this forest as sacred. Thus helps in creating sacred grove, and this in turn helps to protect the forest and the land of the Bhoi. And here, previous slide, we also have this man, as you can see in this slide. He is praying to this tree. This tree in Khasi we call, in Bhoi we call it Tli Pratat. If I'm trying to convert that in English, it's lightning strike. So he is trying to perform a ritual, a prayer, asking asking for mercy from this god of Tlipertan, from the god of lightning, to protect his people and the land. We are also very rich in the traditional medicine. We have many traditional healers who produce many herbal medicine from the roots, from the leaves, from whatever they think they considered it is useful, because they believe that nature can cure us human. So Bhoy believe that everything in the universe is is considered as living things, and therefore has its own way of reacting and its own rights. We also believe in Bhoy that man doesn't have to be the master who protect, who is the master of the land. Therefore we consider everyone is equal. So this kind of beliefs, that the Bhoi people have, makes them try to avoid destruction of life presence on this earth. So these are some of the beliefs that the Bhoi people have. And as you can see, this is the way how they connect nature and their land. And their kind of belief somehow helps them protect the land, and they are close to nature. Next slide, please. Next. So in this slide, I'm going to talk a bit about the textile of the community. As you can see here, these are mainly Aerosol textile, and these are the traditional pattern that the people of Ribhoi weaves. So we have the tartan fabric, which is called thoba. We have the thoriao, which is the small plated in yellow and red color. We also work a lot on the traditional geometrical motifs. And if we can go to the next slide, you can see it better. Next slide. So here we have the first one, Thoriao. This is the very traditional pattern, very typical pattern of the Ripoi. And I can say the whole Khasi people would wear this Thoriao stole. The next one, Knong. Knong, when I say, I refer to the line-like cordings that runs through the edges of this white stole. So every white stole of Ribhoi will have this knong, and it will always have this three lines, three lines, three lines. So 9 lines together. And there is a belief, and this is also a symbol to protect from evil eye. So this is the symbol, and that is why we have in all the stoles, the plain stoles of Erisel. And the next one, Thoba here, which is tartans. This is also another traditional pattern of the community. And the next one here, we have the motifs with lots of motifs here, rich motifs. So this belong to the sub-tribe of the Bhoi people, which they are called the Khatar Lingdo, and they would use this kind of scarves. This is a tying scarf on their waist. And the motifs that they use here are also symbols, and they use mainly this kind of fabric during their rituals and only during ceremonies. So like for example here, the diamond shape motifs is supposed to be the eye of the god. Next slide, please. Yeah, here you can see it better. Next slide. Those are the traditional patterns that we have in Ribhoi. Um, we don't have much varieties of them. We don't have much of the traditional motifs too. So when I started the brand Kiniho, when I started my work, I did think about this, and I know I want to work with the traditional textile, but I cannot just stick with the traditional pattern. So that made me think, and I want this brand to just use the skills and the knowledge and the techniques of the community and try to blend those knowledge and skills and techniques into something contemporary. So since then, I've been trying to create collections and designs inspired by the techniques, inspired by the knowledge and skills of my community people. And I try to combine this and create contemporary design for a modern customer. So, like here in this slide, I have done this collection on Thoba with the tartans fabric. And next slide, please. So this knong, the lines that I was talking about, this is also a technique, and what I have been trying to do in a modern way is just use this kind of technique. And as you can see, I have products here which I have done with this kind of techniques, like a stole here, the giant stem, the yellow giant stem, and again the stole on a model. So I'm using lots of this kind of technique. I'm trying to use it in a different approach, uh, with the concept that I'm using this technique, and this also helps us to create texture in a design, and also it's easy for the weaver to understand and to work with the design that we give them, because they already know about this technique, so it helps them to achieve the design that we want them to achieve. Next slide, please. Um, as a brand who wants to promote the culture and identity of its people, we also work with inspirations surrounded in Meghalaya, and also we take our inspirations from the tradition, from the culture, from the folk tales that we have. We are very rich in folk tales, and we have worked with a few of them. One being this, it's called the Seven Clans. This folk tale, talk a bit about it. It talks about the origins of the Khasi people. So it is believed that once upon a time, there are 16 clans or families who resides in heaven. And then one fine day, God decided to send 7 clans or families down to earth to take care of the earth. But he made a covenant with them. He gave them principles and terms and conditions to adhere, that they should respect humans, should respect God, and all living things on earth. This is the condition, the covenant that he made with the 7 clans and the families that he wants to send down to earth. And he promised that he would plant a divine sacred tree, which is also considered as a golden ladder. Through this golden ladder, the 7 families can climb up and climb down whenever they want, but they should obey to the principle that he have asked them to obey. So the day goes on, and the 7 families live a happy life for some time on earth, but then after some time they forgot about the principle that they should follow. So God decided to cut down the golden ladder, And since then, 7 clans remained on Earth. This becomes the 7 sub-tribes of Kasi, and 9 of them remains in heaven. And so in this weaving fabric here, as you see in the slide, we have just taken symbols of the story as 7 diamonds down and 9 diamonds up. And we have made this into a jacket for this client here. The next slide, please. We have also worked with this folktale, Sir Lapalang. This folktale talks about a stag who disobeyed his mother because he wants to explore the world. But then on his journey, he got killed. So what we have done in this from this folktale is we have taken elements, key elements from the folktale. So we have the arrows, we have the spears, we have the stag, we have the trees, and we are trying to bring that story of this folktale into our fabric by using our hand weaving techniques, like you can see here in the slides. Next slide. So this is also, again, a Sir Lapalang story. And if you can see first on the right side of this slide, we have this pink color with the stag fabric. So here in this, this is a woven motif, and here on this fabric, we have also used this very well-known technique. If you can see this kind of spacing in this fabric, so that is commonly used in the woolen bags of the community. So we have incorporated that technique in this fabric. And on the left side, you can see this stag and his mother. This is not woven. This is done by, we have done this through this embroidery form of Meghalaya. It's the only known form of embroidery in Meghalaya called the Kneng embroidery, practiced by the Musto people, and it is also a dyeing art form. So we decided to use the technique from this Kneng. We have worked with this Musto people, and we have incorporated that in this story. If you can go to the next slide. So to talk a bit about Kneng embroidery, if you can see on the left side of the slide, we have this traditional plaid fabric with the very intricate designs of the Kneng. So this is the typical traditional Kneng embroidery done on the Eri silk fabric, and this is the only way they have been doing it. Running as a design on the edges of the stole. But what we have done for this story, Sir Lapalang, we were encouraging the skilled artisans to think in a different way. So we have created motifs for them, like for example here on the right side of the slide. We have given them stalls with separate motifs from the story, and we have asked them to fill using the same technique, like as you have seen in the previous story of the stag and the mother. We asked them to fill on the motifs. So it was difficult to persuade them to work in a new way, but somehow we managed through that process, and it is a success. We are still working with them till now with different kind of motifs, and not in only stick to the traditional way. Next slide. So these are some of the stoles from the collection Sirlapalang. Next slide. So in terms of giant sem, these are the traditional motifs, the traditional pattern. If you know about giant sem of the Khasi outfit, this is the traditional, the geometrical motifs are the typical traditional motifs. But what we have done, instead of just stick to this traditional motifs and patterns, we are trying to create our own story using our own inspirations, and then try to bring those elements from our story and inspiration into the giant sem. If you can go to the next slide, we can see that. So these are some of the modern way of creating our giant sem using our own inspirations from nature, and trying to blend those inspiration or bring those essence of the story in the fabric. Next slide. Yeah, so this is also our modern giant sem. And the next. Yes. So I have come to the end of this presentation. I would like to thank Team TDF again for giving me this opportunity to share about my work and my community people. It is great to be part of this group, and I feel it is a great platform to share our knowledge, understanding about each other and communities, understanding about our culture and belief. I think it is one way of protecting, reviving, and sustaining our identity. As you know, the great influence of this modern lifestyle have a great impact on our tribes and communities. So it is high time for all of us to stand together, to learn and grow together. And as a group of designers, entrepreneurs, educationists, and maybe more who all are in this group, I feel it is our responsibility to preserve our identity through our work. So, on that note, thank you once again.
Thanks a lot, Iba, for the wonderful presentation. It was really delightful to have you again. Some wonderful designs. I really like the photographs and how they were, you have documented the process and also the product photography. Before we get into the Q&A, we shall have a short announcement of other upcoming exciting events by Tribal Design Forum. We are organizing 2 boot camps of 3 days each, where we meet in person, interact, and learn from each other through collaborative workshops and immersive experiences with the local communities and culture, while we focus on developing strategies for the social, cultural, and economic development of the tribal communities in the region through art, design, and technology. The first boot camp is from the 2nd October to the 4th of October at Kohima with the tribal communities of Nagaland. The second boot camp is from the 6th October to the 8th of October at Ukrul with the Tangkul Naga community. People interested in joining can visit our website tribaldesignforum.com and register to get detailed information regarding participation in the boot camps. Yes, Iba. So let's start the Q&A session. We have one comment and a small question from Anuradha. She says, very, very insightful. Can you please explain what is the difference between Khasi, Nar, and Bhoi culture? How different they are in their textiles? And also, what is the meaning of Kiniho?
So first of all, Kiniho. Kiniho is extracted from my Bhoi language, and even in Bhoi we have many sub-tribe, and we do understand each other, but of course we do understand each other, but there are some kind of words that is different than the other sub-tribe. So this Kiniho, it means these are the ones. It's extracted from my Bhoi language, from from my sub-tribe, and uh, this Kiniho, I actually came up with the name for the very reason, like I have mentioned a story before. I was looking for this fabric that could support my voice and mission, but then at that time when I started, I was far away from home and I was trying to use other natural fabric, but somehow that did not support the voice and mission that I have for this brand. So it was only when my mother made this phone call and it made me realize, oh, Aerosilk, and that clicked. So it is a way of expression, a way of saying to someone who doesn't see what's already there in front of them. So that's the meaning of Kiniho. Kiniho is a way of expression. Kiniho, we say these are the ones, it's here, you don't see it. So it's a way of an expression. So um, that's the name. And also talking about there is no much difference between Khasi is the common, like how you have in Nagaland you have Naga Mis, but you have many sub tribes. So the same way here, in Meghalaya, apart from the Garo, the Khasi people, we have the Pinar, we have the Karyim, we have the Maram, we have the Bhoi, we have the War. So their languages are different, but somehow some words are similar. And our common language is Khasi. In terms of textile, Thoriao, tartans, the thoba and the plaited fabric that I showed you about, and also the other Eri silk, that plain Eri silk, they use it widely by all the Khasi people. It's not belong to only the Bhoi people, but we use it widely. But there are some textile that Bhoi people would only use for their community, like I've mentioned the motifs. We also have the other stripes fabric, as I have shown in the slide. That is also used only by the Bhoi community. And also in Khasi, they will wear only Jainsem and the Nara. And the Giantia, they would wear their wraparound, which is a simple stripe of black and white, and with their one side Jain Kasha. So these are some of the differences in terms of dressing. So Bhoi would usually wear a wraparound of their own textile, of their own pattern. Then Khasi will wear Jainsem, which is a two side of fabric tying on the shoulder. And the Jaintia will wear a giant pin and one side of the Jainsem.
Thank you for the elaborate answer. Moving on to the next question I have is, how can people get or like purchase pieces that you're making, and how do usually you sell it?
We sell it through our stores here in Laimkra in Shillong. Our point of sales, we sell it through social media. We sell it through our website, which is kiniho.com. So you can see our work in the website kiniho.com. You can see our work from Instagram. We do keep our stock in a few parts of the city in India, like Bangalore, Goa, and Delhi. And we do go for events, like for exhibitions, such as.
Yeah. Okay. When you started, and you keep mentioning about the phone call from your mom, when you went back, how easy or difficult was to start?
I already started actually the initial part, the conception of the brand. I already had that before I came back home. Actually, it became very difficult for me to walk and communicate with the viewers as I was far away, and I have only my mom and my auntie who would help me to communicate with the viewers and get the fabric that I want for the collection. So somehow it became very difficult, and my mom would persuaded me more to come back. And yes, so when I came back, it is not an easy journey at all. So as you see, we have only those plain fabrics, and then when I came back, people would weave only stoles and mufflers, which is not good enough for me to make garments. I need a running fabric, like a meter fabric, a yardage, right? So that made me start my own production unit, and I decided to create my own textile for that reason, because it was not easily available. And then also working with the weavers with the villages, it is very difficult to we started with working with the individual weavers at home, but it became very difficult to work with them to check on their quality and all. So that also is the reason why I start my own production unit. So it was not an easy job at all. There were many difficulties when we start, in terms of production, in terms of quality, in terms of market, and many more.
Yes. Uh, Moving on, we have a question from Milind who asks, are you also providing custom editions of your products?
Yes, I do. Like the jacket that is custom made, we do have many custom orders.
Right. So, Milind, you can get yourself some from the website. Okay, moving on to the next. We have so when we were looking at the presentation, we saw two folk tales being weaved into the garments. One was the deer who's going out to explore the world and gets killed, and the other one was about the seven garments
Clans.
above, the clans above and below. Do you have other folk tales also that you're planning to weave into?
We are already working on this upcoming collection, which is about the peacock and the sun. The story a bit, I just want to share this with you.
Yeah.
The story is about how a peacock is actually first in love with the sun, and he is with the sun above. They were dearly and much in love, but then down when he looked down on earth, he see this beautiful yellow formation. He thought it's a lady of his kind, so he left sun and he came down to earth. The peacock came down to earth. um, but when he came down to earth, he realized they are just the mustard fields, the mustard flowers, the yellow flowers. You know? So that's the story. And the sun cries as he left her, and the drops of the sun is what they believe on the marks, the spots on the feathers of the peacock. So that's the story about this, and we are already working. The work is already going on for this story.
That's a fascinating story. Can't wait to see the actual design.
Thank you.
Um, how many other designers are you working with right now? Like, are you collaborating with other designers for to come up with new designs, or you're the only one who is doing the designs on the?
Uh, so I have an in-house designer, textile designer with me from NIT. She is also helping me in the textile design.
That's good. Okay, and we'll just see if we have any more questions. Okay, no more. All right. So moving on, I'll just ask a few more questions. So while you come across these folk tales and you are trying to weave it into these garments, are you also like documenting them otherwise, like writing them down so that you can do it later on?
Yes, so like for the Sri Lapalang, actually that collection, I did it for the Lakme Fashion Week also. So for that textile, I have done a documentation.
Right. Is there a way where your local designers or people who are interested can look into these, or it's your personal collection right now?
You mean to say documentation?
Yeah, the documentation. Is it like public
Uh,
document?
no, it's not public yet. It is not public yet. Yeah, but if there is some kind of need, you can always ask. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. So you were saying when you were setting up, there were many challenges, and we know how it is to work with artisans, with people in general. It is difficult. What other hurdles, like let's say registration of the company and other paperwork that one needs to be aware of when starting? Like let's say if somebody
Uh,
wants to go back to their roots and wants to start something, it's not easy, as you said, right? Yeah.
It was not easy because I was living like for many years outside, and first of all, it was very difficult to come back home and go back to the village, and like there's so much of change, society change, and everything changed, right? So that was one part, and another part is like starting your own brand is not an easy task. And I don't come from that kind of family that I have hefty sum of money to have huge capitals on investments ready on my plate. I was literally struggling. I literally like scratch the soil, as they say, right? Um, I never want to start big. I know I have potentials. I know this work, this business approach that I have has the potential to grow. But I was patient enough because I'm passionate. I love this, this new venture. It's like becoming like my small baby. Is my passion. So I know that it can work out. So I have patience enough for it to grow on its own. I started very small in my very small way. So the difficulties that I found, like in terms of registration, I didn't pay much heed to that because, like I said, it's not a company; it's a sole proprietor still. It's a sole proprietor. So in terms of registration, there was not much difficulty. The market was difficult because I mean, like when I started, like I said, people just know about the stoles and the mufflers. For me, making garments and trying to sell here, it's also not a culture thing for them to spend so much on a garment. And also Rindia, they know aerosol fabric, but they don't expect it to be on a garment. They would rather buy a giant stem or a stole, but not a cloth, not a dress or a shirt. So that was the mindset of the people when I started, but that has changed actually. So we do have local clients who would take garments like clothes uh, for themselves. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good sign, people accepting, because it's really difficult when you start your own product, homegrown. You don't have like an established market, as you say, and then the
Mhm.
local people are not really uh, are used to seeing something that they've already known for so many years in a different form. So
Yes.
it's great to hear. We have a question from Milind again, and it says, "Was it difficult to convince your teammates, I mean your villagers, to produce clothes in a different way?"
Yes. Um, it was difficult when when I was dealing with the individual weavers who works from their own home, because that's the culture. They would do it in their own sweet time, and they would not listen to you usually until you sit there by their side and ask them to do certain things. So it was difficult at the beginning, but it became much easier when I take control of everything. Like when I like have this set up as a unit, and I could, guide them throughout. So they are very willing to learn, to innovate with their skills and their techniques. So they are very willing. that way.
Yeah, just adding on to that question, when you're working with artisans and you're showcasing your work in different exhibitions and events, do you also have young people from your community who are willing to learn or come to you for internships, and how do you deal with that?
So far from my community, yes, there was one or two who are students, design students who would come. We have lots of design students who come to and do an internship with us.
Yeah. So that's really nice to see. You're working with the community and also teaching people which they already know, but also looking teaching them to see it in a different way, I think.
In fact, most of my weavers are young people. We have mothers, we have dropped out students mostly, and in the village, dropped out. They wouldn't go back to school, and they have to support their family. They also have to be the bread earners. So they wouldn't get job because of scarcity of job in Meghalaya. So there are people who have graduated too and are still with me like 4 years, 5 years now. But we try to educate them, like try to encourage them in such a way that weaver's job is not the lowest job, like most part of India think that it is the lowest job. And in other parts of India, I think it's mostly men who weaves, but here it's the woman who weaves. So we made them realize that this is our culture, this is our identity, and you should feel proud that you are having the skills, and you are part of that the tradition to continue this practices. So we always encourage them that way. We talk to them, and they are happy, and they're still with me till now. So we have mostly young people, not like old women with us.
Yeah, that's a good mix, actually. You have people who have been practicing it from before, who are learning new ways to see
Yes,
it, getting new perspective, and also new students or youngsters who are learning this. So I can safely say it's in safe hands now with you leading them. So
well, we hope, yeah, we do hope that more younger generations are interested in this field. Otherwise, in few years, it would just die again, because we had that issue back in 2000, and it was almost dying, but then it got revived.
yeah, that's very interesting. What was the reason of it dying? Was it purely negligence, or was it some?
Uh, so platforms, I would say, there were not much support probably from the government side. I was away from home that time, so I didn't know much. But this could be the reason. There was no proper guidance from the government or support, and these are just villagers, so they need to channelize their products, to market their products. They need certain trainings in that way. So that was not done properly, and so most would go back. So because they couldn't sell the fabric, they would drop their practices, and they would go back to being farmers. But then in the early of 2000, the government have started taking initiative and focus more on helping the weavers, with lots of trainings conducted, lots of programs, awareness, and help them with platforms that somehow revive the culture of weaving. Yes.
Yeah, that's very, very interesting, and also it shows how government policies and their actions are also important,
Yes.
apart from individual action and initiatives as yourselves.
Yes.
So with that, I think we will just close the Q&A session for today. And before saying thanks to Eva, we have a few announcements. We would like to inform you about tomorrow's talk at the same place at the same time. And we have tomorrow, that is the 30th of August, we will have Sahib Ram Tudu, a distinguished designer, animator, artist, and academician at the Faculty of Arts, Banaras Hindu University, BHU. will present a 30-minute talk, journey, and the visual narration of Santhali culture and history through his key project. And then moving forward, very exciting announcement. Tribal Design Forum has announced the third edition of our photography contest and the inaugural essay contest. We invite all members of tribal communities across India to participate and showcase their unique perspectives for the photography contest, capture the profound wisdom and vibrant life of tribal communities through your lens. In our essay contest, express your opinions and insights through writing. We look forward to your creative contributions. So with that, we have come to the end of today's session. Thank you, Iba, for the lovely presentation and the patience to answer all our questions. And I would also like to thank all our attendees who have patiently listened to us and spent their evening with us. It is only because of the support that we are able to gather here with such distinguished guests and speakers. So thank you all once again, and we shall see you tomorrow.